And welcome to Radio Friends. This is Tuesday, it's January 20th, and we have a very special guest with us today. We have Missouri's very first poet laureate, Walter Bargen. Welcome to Radio Friends, Walter.
Yes, thank you.
It is a pleasure having you with us today. You've put together a book, a book that was published back last year in 2014.
Yes.
It's called Gone West, and I was reading parts of it and looking at the pictures. It is a fabulous book.
Oh, thank you.
It's really very, very... But I've got to tell you, I was a little bit disappointed that it's not widely available. Where can you get this?
At this point, the two places in Columbia that have the book are, actually just one place, and that's Yellow Dog Books on 9th Street. Mm-hmm. And they have a few other titles of mine too, because I have published like 18 books now.
Right.
And the Peace Nook also has a few titles, but they don't have this book at this point.
Okay, the book is called Gone West. Tell me how this book came into being.
Well, you know, I could do something like show you this picture right here.
Okay, this is a picture of a little boy in a cowboy outfit, which I had one just like that, and a cowboy hat. And this little boy probably is you, isn't it?
It is, and I think it was taken in 1951 or 1952.
Okay.
And you know, I go, well, that's a little bit of my street cred in relation to the West.
Yeah.
But and of course my shirt.
Right. He's got on a cowboy outfit here, a cowboy shirt with the horseshoes.
And all the horseshoes are pointed up to catch as much luck as possible.
Okay.
Yes. What happened was that my mother is German, and she married my father after World War II, and I spent a number of years in Germany, young years, although that photo is taken outside Fort Bragg, North Carolina, where I was born. And in 2011, this man came through where my mother lived, was traveling through with his son, and they were making video interviews of ex-citizens of Wagen am See, where my mother was born and grew up. And he turned to me and he said, "Oh, I know about you from your relatives in Germany. Could you give me a manuscript because I publish books?" And so I said, "Oh yeah, absolutely. Somebody asked me for a manuscript. That's a pretty amazing experience. And so I'll get you one." And that was this book right here, Endearing Ruins. The German title is Liebenswerte Ruinen.
So this was the first book.
This was the first book, and it was published in 2012. And then what happened was that a couple of years later, I read an article in the New Yorker, and it was about the Karl May Fest, and he was a 19th century German Western pulp fiction writer who wrote all of these Westerns before he ever even traveled to this country. And his two main characters were Winnetou and Old Shatterhand. Very clear, you know, the good guys and the bad guys. And what really fascinated me was up to 250,000 people a year attend this Karl May Fest. And I just thought, oh my God, I can't imagine a festival that large for any author in this country. And I just became fascinated with it. And I realized that they have so romanticized
our Old West.
Our Old West. And I thought maybe it might be interesting to put together a book of photographs and poems it's kind of an updating of the West.
How many poems did you write for this book?
There's 41 poems in there, and there are 41 photographs.
And all the photographs go with the poems. Now, before we run out of time, there was one in particular that you wanted to read, because I wanted you to read something from this. Now, this isn't what you typically think of as the Old West, the surrounded poem. But if you're watching this on the web, there is a picture of a house that is totally surrounded by one building, and the person refused to sell their property because they grew up in this house. And you wrote a poem about it.
I wrote a poem about it.
Would you read that now?
Yes, I would. I should mention that all the photographs in this book are taken by Alan Berner, who graduated from the University of Missouri, the journalism school, and he's been a photojournalist for the Seattle Times for at least 25 years now.
Yeah, yeah. But you try to watch this on the web. Go to kbia.org, click on Radio Friends, and watch the podcast just to see this picture, because it tells the whole story.
It does.
Go ahead.
It does. The poem is called Surrounded. Years of negotiating while negotiating the years, and still no agreement. Either way, the years all head one direction, for the door and down the street. Unless his eyes are closed and he finds himself growing up in this house again, long before the neighborhood turned to rentals, turned to realtors, turned into parking lots, he recalls the hours on his knees playing cowboys and Indians on the rug, circling the wagons, all the small plastic figures forever condemned to be in one pose, doing whatever it was they did, aiming a rifle, shooting an arrow, perfection, perfecting nothing else. How he learned the lesson to hold his ground, even as he is more alone than ever and encircled by stories of concrete.
And the picture is just gorgeous. The person did not sell the house.
No.
So they built this building around that house. Is he still living there?
As far as I know. As far as I know.
That takes a lot of gumption. I wanted you to read another one, and we've got very little time. Can you do the historian in...
Give me the page number.
Okay, here, just read it from this book.
Oh,
the historian.
okay.
We've got less than a minute.
Historian. A dirty wind is always blowing. The sun-bleached, starved dog streets echo with the thud of horse hooves. Leathery voices erupt, tongues sharp as broken glass. The barber in his talcum and tortilla-scented shop folds hot towels over customers' grit-ground smiles and shaves off their faces. Old men dance on bullets, and young ones shoot holes in ceilings. The blind accordionist plays by the wrought iron gate. Castanets and scars crowd the night. The wind forever fingers great events. A stray dog drinks out of the mouth of someone who backed all the way down. The dust of history never settles.
All right. You've been listening to Walter Bargen, our Missouri's first poet laureate. The book is called Gone West, and where can you get it again, Walter?
Yellow Dog Books.
At Yellow Dog Book, and we'll try to get it on Amazon. Thank you, Walter.
Thank you.
Good having you here.
It's been great.